My first impression of Budget 2026 being the first budget, right, of the new government can be summed up with 3 R's: resilience, relevance, and reskilling and retooling our workforce. Is very, very targeted and calibrated, and it's actually looking very long-term. Right, so I think while PM did focus on addressing the short-term cost of living concerns, the high cost of doing businesses, by putting cash back into the ecosystem, but I think a lot of the announcements pertains to, the longer strategic positioning of Singapore, right, in the global economy. So in my view, I find that it's actually a very inclusive budget. As compared to last year, in terms of the CDC payout, it has scaled back, which is very much in line with market expectations, right? But nonetheless, I find that it's still a good bonus, right, for Singaporeans as a whole in getting the $500 CDC voucher. Singapore is a little red dot. Definitely, I think we would want to create that platform and opportunities for companies to scale beyond Singapore's shores. For a lot of companies, they're using Singapore as a base, as a hub for higher value-added, kind of work. So when it comes to, certain activities, for example, manufacturing, right? I think it is very appropriate to actually partner, right, with another jurisdiction that may be lower cost. And typically, we refer to this as like a Singapore plus one kind of concept. So one good example would be the Singapore-Johor Special Economic Zone, right, where you actually encourage companies to set up perhaps their manufacturing outfit, their central kitchens, right, in JB, which is within close proximity to Singapore, right, but having perhaps, the higher value added kind of work, be it like research and development, innovation related kind of work to be undertaken out from Singapore. For the double tax deduction for internationalisation. So the current year's enhancement really is in terms of, enhancing the quantum that does not require any further approval. So it has been increased from the current 150,000 to 400,000, right? And on top of that, it has also been extended to cover more activities in relation to companies venturing overseas. So in my view, this is definitely welcomed by companies, especially those that are looking to internationalize and to build their footprints outside of Singapore. This particular scheme is actually an expenditure-based incentive, so which means that it is likely to meet the requirements under the new international tax law. Right, that even in allowing this tax deduction, it is not going to significantly reduce the effective tax rates of companies. The key concern is that in giving any upfront so-called incentive, it will actually lower your effective tax rate. Right, and under the P2 regime, basically everything will be topped up to 15%. Right, so that will actually reduce the effectiveness of using such incentives. Right, but what I see in the current budget, where the government introduced the double tax deduction scheme as well as the EIS scheme, which accords the enhanced 400% for embracing AI qualifying activities. So basically, those are expenditure-based incentives, which are qualifying tax incentives under the P2 scheme. So under this particular scheme, basically, it will minimize any topping up, right, arising from the accordance of these enhanced tax deductions. I think for PM to actually chair the National AI Council, I think it really stood out to me, when it was being announced, because it basically emphasizes the importance of this new area for him to actually be coming in to champion, to chair this particular initiative. So maybe I can start off with the Enterprise Innovation Scheme. It is an existing scheme that actually accords a 400% tax deduction, right, to an expenditure that's being incurred. So during this budget, I think PM has actually extended it to cover AI-related activities. So definitely, I think it is a welcome move, right, to encourage companies to adopt and to build AI into their day-to-day so-called business activities. And typically for this scheme, for every $100 that a company incur, they actually get a $51 savings in having this enhanced 400% tax deduction. Definitely AI is here to stay, I think, with all of us. I think we hear AI every day. I think it's actually key for companies to actually adapt. Otherwise, they will be actually falling behind the curve. Right? And AI, I think, is critical in terms of ensuring that, companies are more effective and productive. So for example, I think currently, we have been using AI as well in a company, right? And we realized that in churning out a report, right, that typically takes like half a day, right, for maybe a junior staff to churn out. With AI, you can actually churn out the same report in 10 minutes. So it will definitely free up, the staff in focusing more on higher value added work, right, that will further enhance, the company's competitiveness in the market.